Over 400 years ago, survivors of the fall of Tenochtitlan spoke of the apparition of a woman who would cry through the streets at night, weeping for her children and frightening all who heard her voice. Sound familiar? That is the origin story of La Llorona, the crying woman, one of the most famous legends in Mexican culture. There's a good chance you've heard a version of the story. Perhaps, of course, she's a woman dressed in white, and perhaps she's a young bride who died before her wedding, or a widow crying for her orphaned children. Maybe she would walk through the streets to end up sinking into a lake, wading through a river, or climbing a hill to cry at the foot of a cross. These variants are picked up by Luis González Obregón in this book, Las Calles de México, The Streets of Mexico, which is filled with Mexican legends. And he refers to the ancient origin of the story because La Llorona is more than a mere horror story. This goes back to the Nahua worldview surrounding the Spanish conquest. And we know this because of this absolute monster of a book called La Historia General de las Cosas de Nueva España, the general history of things of New Spain. Bernardino de Sahagún, a Spanish friar, interviewed survivors of the conquest over the course of decades to come up with this entire compendium of Aztec culture. And there were 8 omens of the fall of Tenochtitlan, the 6th of which was that Cihuacoatl, a serpent goddess, would move through the streets crying, "O my children, woe to me, for I leave you now." There's also mention of people hearing voices in the air as of a woman crying, "O my children, we are soon to be doomed. O my children, where will I take you?" So this most famous story of La Llorona is actually linked to the fall of Tenochtitlan, the omens that came before it, and how the Aztec interpreted it themselves. There are many more stories like this in these books and the others that I have. If you're interested, please stick around for more of Timeless Mexico.